of his eye. Sit right down, we're gonna give you the scoop with Ryan Pfeiffer and Lisa Doop. Shama-lama ding-dong, loop-de-loop. This is the story of a guy named Mr. Boop.
Okay, you're listening to Being Mr. Boop. Fuck it, we're doing live. My name is Pants Mode, and I am Mr. Boop.
My name is Lisa Doop, and I'm Mr. Boop.
My name's Ryan Pfeiffer, and I'm Mr. Boop.
You two? It's
Yeah, that's us.
Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020.
I like how
And
you couldn't
today
even.
we
I
are
know you
reading-
just met Lisa, but you couldn't even remember my name.
I'm sorry,
We've known each other
nearly
almost
Christmas,
5
everyone.
years.
It's
No,
nearly
we don't.
Christmas!
Yes, we have.
No, we don't. You can't. You just came into my house and you assumed that I knew you.
Okay.
You came into my house uninvited, and you just suddenly set up this podcast, assuming that I know you.
I'll go with that because that's much
Oh, wait
funnier.
a second. Which house address did you have for this co-host, Ryan? What was the house address for this co-host? We're at 203. Dude,
Oh,
was the address 204?
Oh, I thought yes, and I thought this was. I thought this was the house of the person I've known for 5 years. Oh, oops! This is some random person's house that we have as the host for the podcast today. Whoopsies.
Anyways,
Yes,
moving
and
on.
with the
all
script
of you.
now.
You too. It's Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020, and today we are reading to 23rd.
203rd.
203rd
Also,
ever
when
Mr.
there's-
Boop strip. What happens in today's Mr. Boop? Ryan?
In today's Mr. Boop, Ryan won't be saying or doing anything this episode.
Okay,
That
I guess
is
I won't.
interesting.
It probably wasn't true. Let me look at this strip. That probably would have been true, but okay. I will shut up now. I mean, I meant to say that probably wouldn't have been true. I probably would have been able to say some things, but now I will not. And
Okay, for the bit. So what do we see in panel 1, my good friend?
This one's really steamy.
Ooh, it is steamy. We see...
It is very, very steamy. I don't know how to describe this in PG terms. But
Alec and
as a,
Betty. Ooh la
as
la.
a fellow non-virgin, I can definitely tell you it's definitely not safe for work.
Oh boy. Listeners, listeners, if you're listening to this at work whilst you're doing some spreadsheet shit, turn it off.
no.
Dude,
Sorry, I have to break my vow of silence here. The comic is not safe for work. The podcast is safe for work.
no. This episode is not safe
Unless
for
you
work
guys
because
start
we
having
are
sex.
talking about...
Then I
Right,
guess
okay.
it would be not safe for work.
Alec and
Ryan.
Betty are in the throes of love. They are still dressed, but they are clutching each other like animals. They're both sweating and blushing, as you do when you're loving. And they've got
we are
huge
talking
tongues.
like really, really, really steamy stuff like tongues.
The tongues
and-
resemble the ones that we see in, what's it called? Strip 200 and also Heartbreak High. Right?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I would say
Probably
strips
what you thought.
1, panels 1 and 4, you could get tattooed on you and get a job pretty much anywhere that allows tattoos. So I would say those
Is
are
that
safe,
a
pretty
dare?
much safe for work. Sure.
Is that a dare? Yeah.
Dialogue aside, okay, maybe not panel 4 including dialogue. Panel 1 including dialogue, I think you could get tattooed on you and it would still be considered safe for work. So
I mean,
unless they
then
don't
again,
add-
then again, do not take this as like actual advice.
This isn't- this
Being
isn't-
Mr. Boop is just an analytical podcast about Mr.
yes,
Boop.
this is my
And
This is our job.
and not
so
an
we don't
advice
know
show.
anything.
If you want to listen to an advice
strip
show,
theory,
we
literally. 'cause
we
they're stripping.
recommend what's an advice podcast in your network?
None on our network.
My brother,
we
and
need to
me.
make
No. Boku no Stop. We recommend go ask them for advice.
I think
Yes.
Magmar Sucks probably counts as an advice podcast, right? It's an advice podcast on which Pokemon to like.
I mean, that's
advice.
all
go
podcast,
to
isn't it?
Tim
That-
for life advice.
Yeah.
Betty thinks this feels right. This is immediately creepy. You wouldn't think. No, you wouldn't think this, right?
I mean,
You know what? I have to
it wouldn't
disagree.
be the first thing I would think, but definitely if I was like playing with someone else's tongue with my tongue, if we were playing with each other's tongues and my hands
It's
were
a weird way to talk
all
about it.
over
It's a weird
someone
way to
else's
describe
body,
that.
I would think that it would be somewhere close.
Your tongues
to being
playing
the right
together?
thing to do. Yes.
I feel like that's a
is
weird
that
way to
not what
describe
happens
it.
in the
I
comic?
guess I
Is
wouldn't
that not what
know, but I feel like that's a weird way to describe it.
Well, how else would you describe it, Ryan?
Making out.
I
mean,
mean,
I guess
making
you're
out would
being-
involve like.
Yeah, you'd describe it like that, virgin.
Whoa! Whoa!
There is nothing.
Epic own.
This is a non-sexual act. Like they're just kissing right now.
In panel 2, we
Hang
see...
on.
I like this...
Hang on.
Hang on.
Because what is it you saying? Oh, this is a weird thing to think. Saying this feels right. I feel like they're in the throes of romance. You know,
Yes.
they're making out. Like this is not. That's not a weird thing to think. It's
Perhaps
like
it's the context
it's
that we've seen
passionate.
of Liz
okay,
being sort of twisted. It
Maybe.
makes it feel weird.
yes, that I mean, yes. In the context
And I
of
feel
the
like-
whole strip, it is weird. As
I mean,
just
it's
an
pretty
act-
weird because,
as just a
in the
In the world
reaction
where
to
this
the
is tattooed
activity.
onto your...
The
in the world where you're an
Les's
office
eyelids
worker.
are not colored in the way that a typical Betty Boop's eyelids would be colored. So there's definitely.
Well, I don't think they're ever colored in Mr. Boop. They're blushing too, by the way.
You've
and sweating.
read
Well, that
Mr.
just
Boop,
opened
right?
us up more theory about like if this is the real Betty Boop, it cannot be.
It's not the real Betty
But
Boop,
when
but
he
the real Betty Boop
even when
didn't
he
have
was
that.
saying he was
Did
married to
he
the real
ever
Betty
meet
Boop, she
the
was
real
drawn
Betty Boop?
exactly
That's
like
the
this.
question here.
She was drawn exactly like this. When he was saying he was married to the real Betty Boop, she was drawn exactly like this.
Yes.
Yes, but then we found out that the first strip was when he was lying.
But he wasn't lying because it was a fake Betty Boop. He was lying because it was just a lie. None of it happened. He wasn't drawing
I don't
a
think
fake
he
Betty
ever met
Boop. He
real
was
Betty.
just
He never-
lying.
I'm just gonna say, my headcanon, Betty Boop doesn't exist in this world. I don't think Betty Boop is real or any
I
kind
feel like
that
that's
would
a-
be an interesting theory. Yeah.
I think that's a deeper theory than I think what we're talking about in a way, because it's like that has
Well, I
more
mean,
to do with the entire strips. Whatever. I don't think this is the
Isn't
right.
this what the podcast is about?
Yes, I don't think this is the right time to get into it.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm just...
Well, yeah, maybe next episode. But
No, I'm not even saying.
now
I'm not
we
even
are-
saying episode. I'm just saying I don't think it really has anything to do with whatever. Anyway,
with this strip.
so
Panel 2.
if this was tattooed
whoa.
on you, we wouldn't have the context of the entire strip. You would just
Exactly.
have the one.
Whoa,
panel.
slow down, dupe. Slow down, dupe. We haven't finished analyzing panel 1.
Okay, no, we have now.
I think we have.
Do you see
Yeah, I
what
think we
Alec
have.
is wearing?
What? He's wearing his classic button-up shirt.
Is this the first time we've seen him in this? No, we saw that in him 200.
Well,
Right?
of course, but in this, it
He's been wearing it the
seems
whole
like
time.
a
He's been in the
typical
real
T-shirt,
world.
but then it turns into a button-up, as we see in panel 2.
panel
It's just the
And
angle.
then it seems like also something that you can button like all of it off.
It's just
so-
the angle.
That's any shirt, really. You can
Her
button any
hand
shirt
is
off.
in the middle of his chest, so it's covering the buttons.
Well, yeah, you're right.
That's
Yeah,
true.
you're right. It does,
You're right.
It does play with the perspective.
The only thing is that because the way he's drawn his head, sort of his shoulders up and stuff, we don't see the collar. Because of the angle of his head,
Yeah.
so we don't see the collar of it. So it looks more like a t-shirt.
In panel 2.
Okay, I will.
I mean,
shut up.
like
what,
this
what,
drawing
what
in
else is
panel
he
2, by the way.
grabbing other than Betty's boob?
But he's not grabbing; it's just kind of placed there. And so
think
is
maybe
her.
it's-
Her
it's-
hands
I
placed
guess.
on his chest as well.
the way he drew it, it does kind of look like it's grabbing.
I
but-
don't disagree,
Maybe
but
it's
it's
just
not
me.
like
Maybe it's
it
just me.
doesn't have to have to be not safe for work. Like it's not like it's just it can just be placed there. You know.
Well, I mean, we are talking about the whole Dad Days comic which is not safe for work, so it's definitely possible that he's just initiating this ritual by grabbing her boob instead of just touching it.
I don't disagree. But I don't think there's anything.
And it is it seems very consensual. That like judging from their very
Of course.
reactions,
of course
including
this is
blushing.
consensual, Yeah. No, yeah.
They're married.
Well, I mean, consensual on a level, I suppose.
Well, yeah, Ryan, but because they're married does not mean
I'm not
automatically
saying
mean
that. I'm not saying that.
Ryan.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's like, of course, it makes sense that it would be.
Yeah. There's nothing to tell us that it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, Alec would not be the type of person to disrespect Betty Boop like that, right?
Like what? Oh, you're saying it might not be consensual on his end. Is that what you're saying?
That is a fair point, but
Because I don't think can't see any. Has he ever rejected her advances before in this strip?
Well, that doesn't mean anything, right?
Well,
I don't know if he.
I'm not.
We haven't.
I'm not
sure if
I'm
you've
asking
ever
for
seen
context.
him.
I'm asking if he ever has.
I'm not sure if we have ever seen anyone
Because
like
I could imagine a scenario
Betty's
where he's just like really
advances,
sad.
But
and...
we do see at the panel 4 that he says or thinks to himself
Well, wait,
he loves
we haven't
being
gotten
happy.
there.
And
We haven't
having
gotten
sex.
to
So there's some
I don't know what you're saying. La la la.
We go through the panels in order here, my good man. My good.
I know, but I would like to attribute a reference
about
to
that
panel
when we get
4.
We'll talk to that when we get
to it. Panel 2.
Panel 2. I want. Okay, so Alec is his shirt's being unbuttoned, and Betty's leaning on something to get to him. I like this drawing, and I like the round shapes in it. I think it's
and they're very sweaty too. I like that detail.
And they got heart flies around them.
The
and Betty is
round
thinking-
shapes.
Yeah, it's got round shapes. I like.
Yeah, the eyes are very round this time, unlike in panel 1
Their
where they're
eyes are
very
so
ovally,
voluptuous.
very roughly drawn. Here they're almost perfect circles.
Of course, I like Betty's hip. I like Alec's shoulder and their heads together. They make a nice. I like the geography of this. Is that geography? Is that right?
Geometry.
Ain't that
I like
from
the
Game of
geometry of
Thrones?
the strip.
I kind of like this
geography.
one bit where it looks like a nipple, but it might be a sweat drop.
Leave something for interpretation.
I think it's a nipple.
I mean, yeah. I mean, of course, we could leave it up to interpretation, but we all know that one could think of two things when they see that spot right there. It could be a sweat drop or a nipple.
You could do thousands of psychological experiments.
Here's the thing. All the
sweat
other
drop, nipple.
No, look. All the other sweat drops are open. That is a closed circle, and we know that.
Yeah, but in the
we
last
know-
drawing,
that you think that.
The only
in
way
the last
that's
drawing,
how you
we
define
commented
it.
on Alex's eyes when he was talking to Bugs Bunny and
The last
Family Guy.
strip,
We've
yeah.
commented on how his eyes were drawn, comparing panel 1 and panel 3. And I mentioned how in panel 3 they were black. So this could be a similar case here where it's it's accidentally closed, but we don't know if it's
The
meant to be
only way
closed.
that would be a sweat droplet and not a nipple is if he forgot to draw the nipple there. Or didn't bother drawing the nipple there, because there would have to be one there. We know.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
true.
not
It might be
necessarily. It might be
anatomically
a
incorrect, but
yeah.
but anatomy has always pointed out that nipples could be anywhere on the chest, so it could be way
What?
higher, it could be way
No,
lower.
but we know that's where his is. We can see in panel 4, and we've seen before. We've seen in other strips.
I'm not looking down with those.
Oh,
Panels,
you're right.
Ryan.
Well,
I'm
We've
not
seen
looking
in
down.
other previous strips
But
that's where his nipple
here's
is.
the thing. Here's the thing.
We've had
in panel
a
4,
discussion
panel
at
4
length about Alex nipples before.
Panel 4, you pointed this
Wait,
out,
no,
where
no.
the nipples is. You pointed this out, but on the other side, there's a clearer
Sorry.
sign that it could be
Hang
a
on.
sweat drop.
I was misremembering. It was belly button. It was his belly button.
We
that
talked a
were
lot
talking
about his belly. And Betty Boop thinks there's nothing wrong with any of this. Now, this is where I think it gets especially weird, right? There's nothing
Yes.
wong with any of this.
I mean, yeah, this could attribute to Ryan's theory of maybe this is Alec being unable to reject. Betty's
yeah,
advances.
I agree. Or he's trying to convince himself and the audience that. I see what you mean. He's trying to convince himself and the audience that Liz is okay with this. He's kind of gotten the whiff that maybe
then
Liz
that's
doesn't think
just-
she's Betty Boop. And
But then it plays with the theory that Alex is just playing with the reader's assumptions. Yeah.
Interestingly,
this is the most mysterious panel we have come across.
I just
by
clicked
far.
on the strip for the episode where we discuss Alex's belly button, and his belly button isn't even shown in the strip. We just started talking about it, I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
In panel 3, we see Alec. Is that called a motorboat? Is that what it's called? Motorboat?
Yeah, I think it's a breastfeed. I cannot exactly tell.
I don't know, because you can see her. She still has her
like-
dress on. You can't. It's not really a breastfeeding thing, then, is it? That's a bit weird.
Well, I mean, it's more her dress is like more open from the chest, so I mean it could be, but we cannot exactly tell because his face and it's positioned in a way where we cannot see the other boob, so we cannot tell if it's like further away or maybe it's just squeezed in between the tits.
Betty looks really happy about this, and she thinks it's healthy, and I'm in love, and I'm humanely turned on. Inhumanly turned on, inhumane, maybe also inhumane. I think this is commenting on.
How are you humanly turned on? How can one be humanly turned on?
She's a cartoon.
Oh boy, yeah.
She's not
but
a
also,
human, she's
what
a
I
cartoon.
think is most interesting about panel 3 is like in book
She's a
one, one of the recurring elements is the how it really put a lot of emphasis on how healthy their relationship was, right?
Perhaps. Yeah.
But also, it had that as it went on, the strips went on, it kind of had this underline of Alec isn't really healthy about the relationship. He's too obsessed with her and with sex and stuff. And this is kind of another comment on it. It's a simplifying. It's not showing that they're in a healthy relationship. It's her
it could be
literally
like
telling the audience.
Yeah, the whole comic could be commenting on like how men sexualize women, right? Like
But they,
prioritize
like, portray it
sexualization over actual relationships.
I think that, but also they mask it with saying, "Oh, look how healthy we are online on the internet." I don't know if that's what
The
it's all
wording
about,
does seem
but I
very
think that that's-
suspicious. Like this feels
I
right.
read
There's
that
nothing
into it for a
wrong.
while.
This
I
is
don't
some
know
healthy.
if there's really any commentary like that. I don't know if that's like an actual. I don't read any.
Well, I mean,
I
we're
think
talking about a
I've-
comic where they have sex, so I'm not sure about what you think is going on here, but
You're saying because
I think
I'm
that-
not speaking on it.
I'm saying that
I
because
think
you're a
that-
virgin.
I no,
Oh,
I just
I
think
see.
I think that
Yes.
I think that that's a valid reading.
I'm
and
proud
a
of-
reading that I had when I first read it. They're like, oh, maybe it's a thing on, or at least there's an element of healthy relationships in here, like it's a theme, right?
I wasn't. I
Yes?
didn't. I don't. Never really read it as like a commentary on actual real life relationships.
At least, yeah.
Can
Well-
we?
I mean, I definitely spotted like a commentary on like how he is dedicated to his. Well, then we knew that it was his wife, but now
I think
we know it's not.
there's some parallels between real life relationships where he's like because he's a wife guy. He's like clearly like a wife guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe
then
maybe you could make.
Then we follow him trying to like convince himself that he doesn't want to divorce her.
But that's like
You don't
so
wanna
over the
divorce.
top. I
Maybe
don't
it's
think
like-
it's really
maybe
trying
it's
to
like
comment on
obsession.
anything. I think it's just kind of like gags, like that. It's just set up for gags of
Yeah, but I think
him
the
being
gags
like,
are, like,
all right,
making-
and if I divorce my wife, I want you to shoot me with this gun. Like it's very. It's
I
like
think that the gag.
it's
is
almost like
is
it's like
lampshade
Looney
that,
Tunes
though.
style like gag
He's
setup.
like locking himself into this relationship, not caring about his consequences and how it could affect his life.
I
his
think that
personal life.
Literally, yes.
Not just
but
their
as
No,
but I
as
think
the
that-
presentation of the strip, it's like a Looney Tunes gag setup.
No, but I think that part of he's using that language and that style of gag to make jokes about, wife guys and people who are in these types of relationships.
Maybe.
Right?
I would say maybe.
which brings us to the big question:
final
is
panel.
Alec a wife guy, or is he like of some other
A life
mindset?
guy, a high on life guy.
Is Alec a Sigma male?
Oh.
Say
Well,
that
we
again?
might have some.
Say that again?
is Alec a Sigma male or a
Oh.
wife guy?
What do you mean, or?
Because
both?
because the way the comic is set up, there's all these gags about wife guys. He portrays himself as a wife guy. We know that it could be autobiographical. Is he a wife guy making fun of others like him,
Well, he doesn't have a
unaware
wife in
of
real life.
how he is, or is he like a Sigma male who convinces himself that his life is good?
Are you saying do you think
I don't
he's
know how-
above Alec? Do you think he thinks he's above Alec in the strip?
I
that what you
theorize it could be possible, but I'm not saying that it is.
No, yeah, I don't know.
You're-
Difficult to know.
well-
I feel like maybe he's making fun of an element of himself, but I don't. That's my reading.
He doesn't.
Well, yeah, the whole comic started out as just him being married to Betty Boop, so it could be making fun of an element.
It's
his
impossible to know
dedication.
what his actual relationship status is. I would assume that he doesn't have a serious relationship going on right now. Maybe that's. I mean,
I think he does. I think I've seen on his Instagram he's in one, but I'm
okay,
not sure.
but not
one
at
of
the
the
time of
guest
the strip
stars.
anyway.
Yeah.
It's not like
Difficult to know.
because to bring it back to Nathan Fielder, have you ever seen Nathan For You or anything, Pants Mode?
Yeah, I watched Native Fielder. I loved the
I haven't seen that yet, so
rehearsal.
no spoilers, please.
Nathan dies.
Oh fuck. But in in Nathan For You, he there's lots of jokes about him trying to interact with, trying to make friends in general, but also trying to interact with women specifically. And I think at the time the show started, I don't know if he was in a relationship or what, but he wasn't married. But by the time the show ended, he was married. I think that's was the case. So it's kind of by that
said
point
the
he was
style
very much
changed?
playing a character.
Ah.
In that regard anyway. Because he's
Well,
because he's making jokes about not being able to interact with women romantically, or it's he wouldn't even really be trying to because he's married in real life.
Yeah.
And
yeah, unless
Unless what?
unless he's cheated.
Oh, polygamous.
Polygamous. Yes,
Polygamous.
Sure. Speaking of
Let's
that,
get back to Mr.
in
Boop.
panel 4, the long-awaited panel 4 and the long-discussed, anticipated, we see Alec in the throes of love, I suppose, and he thinks to himself, I love being happy and having sex with my wife, Betty Boop. And there's a heart flying in it.
Notice how notice how this is the only frame where he is the one thinking thinking about something.
I would say that's
in the
not a
previous
heart
panels.
fly,
It's always been Betty.
It's not a heart floating around their head. It's a heart in a speech bubble. So I would say it's not a heart fly because of that.
Now, what intrigues me here is what he's doing in that frame. Is he doing missionary sex? Is he doing anal sex?
I assume
Is he
he's
possibly doing? Is he possibly doing? What's it called? Is he possibly initiating Betty to give him a blowjob? We don't know because it's
that's
so
the beauty
vague.
of this art. It's implied. It's vague. Nothing.
It could be a
really
blowjob
implied.
because the placement of the heart bubble is right there in the middle, which would
but it
be
could-
where Betty's head would be if she was giving him a blowjob.
No, I think her head would be there no matter what sex act they're committing. Yeah,
Or maybe he's sitting on her face. We don't know.
It's all no. Her head wouldn't be there. Anyway,
Oh yeah, true.
I think he's completely thrown out the pretenses of trying to tell you that he's trying to subtly tell you that Liz is okay with this, but now he's telling us, not showing us, and that's part of it. The effect of the panel, the strip.
Well, yeah. I mean, it
I'm just
does
explaining for the-
it does kind of lean towards the direction of show not tell, or no wait tell not show,
As in they're
because
telling. instead of showing.
Yes.
They're telling us exactly.
Well, that's kind of
And
where
he's
the
also-
humor
she's-
lies, isn't it?
Yes, that is. Yeah. She's convinced.
I mean,
that
we're
there's
going that
nothing
route
wrong
again. We're
with it.
overanalyzing the.
I mean,
that.
let's not talk about the depths of humor right now. We're talking about Mr. Boop, not the history of comedy. But
Yeah.
regardless,
It's a comedy
The
strip.
Patreon description.
Like it's a
The status synopsis reads, "It's so beautiful to see two people in love. You're welcome for showing this. You're welcome for showing this to you."
Isn't it fun? And he,
That
and he
is
did
very
it a
One of the
lot more
Patreon
in
comments
in the
reads-
future.
Hmm?
He does it a
One
lot
of the
more in
comments
future.
reads, "Haha, it's the sex," which I think is funny.
It's a good comment.
What's
it is truly the sex of all time.
It's
It's a spectacular. It's a spectacle, to say the least.
fuck. What was I gonna say?
The revolutionary strip of the day
What was the?
of Mr. Boop, where we finally get to see them have sex. Well, I'm not sure about finally, because the implications of when this was placed in the timeline are still ambiguous, but
Damn it! What the fuck was I
I
gonna say?
digress.
I think we've seen him and Liz have sex before this.
Oh, that was what I was gonna say. You keep referring to her as Liz when this. I don't think this
What-
is Liz anymore.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what
but
I'm.
just to clarify.
That's what I'm kind of arguing too.
No,
because
no, not to
it doesn't.
No, listen, because I don't think this is even the person who changed her name to Betty Boop. I think
You don't think it's
he is-
necessary to clarify?
No, I'm not saying I don't think it's necessary to clarify. I think it's. I think if our theory is correct, or my theory anyway, that it would be incorrect to refer to her as Liz, because this is not the woman who changed her appearance and name to fit Betty Boop. This is literally Betty Boop. In fact, that is literally the case, because it was implied anyway in the last strip that he married the actual Betty Boop, which means that he has succumbed into his own narrative, his own lie. And
So this follows
and this
201.
is no longer the woman formerly known as Liz. This is the actual Betty Boop.
I agree to that, but I think that it's still good to know. This isn't
It does
Buddy Boot from books 1 to 3.
It does raise more
This is
questions
at
about
least
this
within-
We
strip
could
than
call her
before.
Betty Toop.
I mean, we
Could,
could
or I
call
could
her
call her
Betty
Liz.
too, but
I
then
don't-
again, we do
Betty
not know which Betty we are talking about here. Because the placement of 201 in the timeline is still ambiguous, and as we know,
don't think it
202
is.
follows 201, so this is also ambiguous in timing, and so we do not know if this is which Betty it is, and when you add that on top of the question of, is this really consensual? Who is
I think I would
consenting in this?
prefer to hear about
This is
Godzilla
the most-
again before I hear about where this is on the timeline again.
Listen,
Sorry, I'm just very
do you know anything
obsessed.
about Godzilla?
No, shut up. What I want to talk about is
I mean, does
You know.
Godzilla appear in Mr. Boop at any point?
No.
Is there like a background?
please no.
We wish.
I would like to raise the question: is Betty human? She says she's inhumanly turned on. Is she?
I mean,
A human.
You think it could be a
inhumanly would
pun on
imply that
inhumanely?
she is beyond turn on, like more than.
No,
turn on.
I know. I'm not saying because of. I'm not even saying like that's why. She
I mean,
said that.
implications
this
of
is
like
just
her
just
being
what-
a sex pest
No.
rather than human
No.
is very.
No. I'm not bringing. This occurred to me. This popped into my mind because she phrased it that way. But I don't think it has anything to do with her phrasing it this way. What I'm saying is,
I mean, how do we know if it's her phrasing or his phrasing?
it doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with my point. Is she human or is she Toon?
She's a drawing. She's lines on Alex's.
But-
tablet.
I mean,
Well, no,
she's
no.
as
You know?
much
But
of
Alec
a
is a
tune
human.
as Alec is in this comic.
You think
They're
so?
both-
We've
wrong.
established several times that like it doesn't matter what a tune or a human is in this.
I don't know if we've established it doesn't
as
matter.
we know its
We've
relationship with
discussed
the
that
real
it-
Alec,
we've-
it could be possible that Betty would be human and too.
We've established that it's not clear how the Roger Rabbit logic of this world works.
but Alex
It's not established.
Alex says he doesn't think about it. Or like
He doesn't think about it. But that being said, that's in
I mean,
that's
the
in
world
terms
is
of
very unpredictable. I mean, we have seen
whatever.
UFOs.
Yeah, whatever. But that's in terms
preferred
of
by the Pentagon.
how the system of the tunes being produced works. So in terms of the studio system of how the tunes are produced and who is actually a tune star, like Betty Boop is a tune star and Bugs Bunny is maybe not, probably not. That is, he doesn't think about it. He says he doesn't think about it, and that may be true for what race, if Betty's a human or if she's a tune. If this is Roger Rabbit logic, then there are tunes and humans are distinct, separate races, entities.
Maybe it is that way. I was more like thinking like as a species, if she's a tune or a human.
Yes, exactly. I would say,
and not as like a metaphysical existence type.
Okay, how about this? How about this for a theory? She is a known, like Betty Boop in this strip, and maybe this isn't true for the current Betty Boop we're looking at. Maybe this is it's impossible to tell, but in the past,
maybe it could be the third Betty Boop we don't know about.
Whatever. It's been shown in the past that Betty is a cartoon star. Like she's like in Garfield Gets Real fashion. She is the star of the tune she is known for, and they film those, and it's a cartoon. Which Roger Rabbit, not right, yeah. Who ruined Roger Rabbit logic too? I don't know why I say Garfield Gets Real. It's the same for that. Yeah. And Bugs Bunny and Peter Griffin are not. So maybe they're not tunes. Maybe though he's an actual bunny and Peter Griffin is an actual human. This is what I'm saying is since Betty is known to have that history, that she would be considered a tune, but in the world of Mr. Boop, Peter Griffin is not a tune. Even though in the world of Roger Rabbit he would be.
Yes.
Or in the world, I guess not in the world, more in the world of Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers, because that's.
Although
I think we're not meant to think about this.
Yes and no.
No, we are. I mean, it could be said that we shouldn't think it this way because it's not worth the effort. But I mean, think about the other tunes in this universe. Think about the other tunes in this universe.
Well, we've only seen Peter Griffin and Bugs Bunny so far of this new universe, right?
Yes. So what other type, like, are they like the sole exceptions to this rule of like tunes cannot be in the real world?
No.
Or are tunes and humans
I think you guys are saying different things here because you're talking about the world as a whole with all of the characters we've seen before. Whereas,
well, I mean, you need to have the world to have the stories to take place in, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
Lisa is talking about specifically this new iteration.
Yeah, Book 4 specifically takes place in a different world from the previous.
Well, and now we're in like a new world from that, or the old world again. It's not clear.
I think that the.
Are we talking about a new generation of history?
No.
Or are we talking about like another Big Bang?
No, we're not.
No, we're talking about a crazy artist drawing a different continuity.
Yes.
Or whatever.
We're talking about continuities. We're not talking about universes.
But I think that Alec the writer, the insane writer who writes Mr. Boop,
Alex Rider,
still wants the audience still to think that this is Liz, the human being.
I don't think he's thinking about it. I don't think he's thinking about what he wants the audience to think. I think he just
wants you to think he's got a banging hot wife.
Yeah.
And he also thinks that the ultimate hot wife is Betty Boop.
He's brainwashed himself.
Yeah.
Into thinking this is normal.
Here's a little comment. When she says inhumanly turned on, I wonder if it could be a double meaning because it's very similar to inhumanely turned on.
Yeah,
one letter away.
You've said this. I'm not sure
what you mean. No one responded to me.
I'm not sure what you mean by this. Like what?
Because
why would he not just say inhumanely? Like what does it mean either way? Inhumanly turned on. What does that mean?
Well, because
like animalistic.
She's mega turned on. Yeah, unrealistically turned on. She's hyper turned on.
I guess I see what you're saying. She means it like she's animalistically turned on, but because it's so close, you think maybe he's like trying to sneak in, and it's like inhumane.
It's fucked up.
I don't know. I don't know. Um. Have we seen in the past? I know a different continuity, whatever, but have we seen in the past any other classic pop culture characters that are confirmed in the strip to have a history like Betty, where they are Toon Stars? I might have asked this question in the past already. But
I'd be happy at
posing it again.
Maybe Mickey Mouse? I don't know, because he's the only other one who has a dad, right?
Yes, we've seen Walt Disney in the strip, who I think may be the only live action, not just live action, real person that we've seen depicted.
Real celebrity
person, as opposed to
Betty's
cartoon
father
character. All the others
send
were
like a
cartoon
copyright
characters.
letter, which would imply that Max Fleischer also exists.
Yeah, but Max Fleischer, but he's Mr. Boop in this. He's not Max Fleischer.
No, Max Fleischer does not exist because it's Mr.
Then who sent that copyright letter?
Mr. Boop. As in not Alec, as in the titular, not titular Mr. Boop.
Yes.
Made it very clear.
Mr. Boop, Betty's father.
I don't know where we're going with this.
Betty's father, Mr. Boop.
We're ending the episode right now, I think. I think we've talked about this to death.
Okay.
Which we don't usually do.
So, I guess we have talked about this.
Go to line 13, if you will.
Line 13. Okay, I gotta come up with a really...
You don't have to come up with
Why did you write originally a dog?
You don't have to. You don't have to. Because she was originally a dog, you don't have to come up with anything. Just read what the tagline says.
Alright, alright.
What it says.
You've been listening to Being Mr. Boop. If you come across Ryan, don't believe he's lying, you can visit the show's website at www.beingmrboop.com for a full catalog of episodes. For more updates, follow at Mr. Boop Bod on Twitter.
Mr. Boop Pod.
My name is Pants Mode.
Did you just come up with that?
Doop.
Did you come up with that tagline, or did?
Yes.
Oh,
that's amazing.
Let me write it in then. Okay, thank you and good night.
Thank you and good night, good listeners.
This podcast was brought to you by the Pitch Drop Podcast Network. Like what you just heard? Support the show by going to patreon.com/pitch drop. And while you're at it, check out pitchdrop.net for more of this and other shows.